World over, people understand that water is life, that water is a resource, and that water is a commodity. Therefore, water management is key for its sustainability. Water sustainability is linked to energy. So how do we develop and manage energy and water at local, national, regional, and global levels? In joining Global Water Dialogue for 2014, under the theme of energy and water, in East Africa, we focus on Lake Victoria, specifically on Jinja. Jinja is a town at the footprints of Lake Victoria, and it's renowned for the hydroelectricity generation in Uganda. We take a look at the case of the National Water and Sewerage Corporation in Jinja. Energy and water are critical factors for livelihood because of the continuing scarcity of these two resources. Their utilization and sustainability have become of high concern.
We rely basically on pumping as far as I'm concerned. The rest is rainwater harvesting. We have been trying to encourage it in rural, peri-urban areas where people might not afford water, but yet they have roofs. But for the majority of the water supply, we have to rely on pumping. There is no other way. Yeah, we have the best water. It's the best treated. We meet the WHO standards. My message to our consumers would be, yeah, take our water, pay in time, because we have to rely on customers' payments to run the system. There is nothing for free. It's not that government is going to put in money. Even if it puts money, this is your taxes. But as far as we are concerned, it is the tariff. We rely on what we get from customers to supply. So let us all be responsible citizens. National has supplied a customer water for 30 days. Please, at the end of 30 days, pay your bills promptly so that this service is sustainable. Otherwise, if people do not pay their bills in time, the service does not become sustainable, and ultimately it leads to breakdowns. Because if we are not paid money, we won't be able to pay our suppliers, who may make one of them, pipe suppliers, chemical suppliers. So if we don't do that, then there is a break in the system. If our customers are going, we even extending to other areas, we must buy pipes to extend. But how do we buy these pipes? We must buy these pipes by getting money from what our customers have paid us. So my appeal to the general public is, please pay your water bills promptly. Report any water thefts. This business of saying, my neighbor is stealing water, that's not my business. No, it's your business. He's stealing from the public good. So if everybody starts stealing water, it becomes a problem. So if your neighbor is stealing water, please report him or her, and we take appropriate action.
Only about 25% of the world's dams are involved in producing hydropower. Transboundary lakes, such as Lake Victoria, account for an estimated 60% of global freshwater flow. Water as a key resource, just as energy and food, their provision is in line with the green growth approach. Institutions providing water to consumers work in joint partnership with end users who contribute resources to enable sustainability.
The cheapest unit of water is the one supplied to public standposts, and it is supplied at 1,236 shillings per cubic meter. These are 50 jerrycans. The 50 jerrycan of 20 liters. So a jerrycan of 20 liters comes to around 25 shillings. We get breakdowns. So when we get breakdowns, we have to repair. So if you're on an area where a breakdown has occurred, surely there will be no water in the system, till when the system is repaired. Then at times we also get a challenge of power supply. We don't have a standby generator. So when there is interruptions in power, we don't pump. And if we don't pump, of course, there will be nothing in the system. But it's not very frequent. So when there is no water, of course, we tend to put a message. Yeah, people expect such, but some of these things at times occur abruptly. And you find there is no water in your system, you open, but it does not, it's not very frequent. Distribution, of course, we have vandalism. People cut our pipes. People steal our installations, especially sewer manholes. There are these steel factories. They buy scrap, and people find those exposed manholes as an easy source of money. So at night they remove the manhole covers, and they are heavy. So you find the manhole cover weighing maybe 30 kilograms or 40 kilograms. Some people, that's some money. So they remove it and go and sell it to those people who are remelting the iron and turning it into other products. So that's a challenge. We have these developments which are coordinated. People build on top of our lines. We have people who reverse our meters. We have people who make, apart from reversing, also bypass the meters, so leading to water losses. It's a challenge.
Water efficiency is about quantity and quality. Pollution and pollutant discharge to freshwater is a concern because it influences quality control, thereby increasing costs of water purification and energy use. Pollutants destroy infrastructure and affect water levels.
There has been a declining trend in water quality generally, and we think that we engage stakeholders, especially government agencies, the local communities, and also CBOs, community-based organizations. We think that the cumulative effort of all these groups can have a very good impact on sustaining, on improving the deteriorating water quality of the water source. Of course, we have also had, we know because we subject our water to thorough check. We use the conventional water treatment process, and before the water is dispatched for consumption, we also check the integrity. And from previous records, our water quality is generally very excellent in comparison to other sources like springs. Springs and open dark wells are very susceptible to pollution, especially coal pollution. And from the checks we always carry out, we have discovered that these sources are very, very polluted. The quality is quite different from that supplied by National Water and Sewerage Corporation. So in most cases, we encourage our clients to consume water produced by National Water.
Poor sanitation, industrial discharge to the lake make it favorable for water hyacinth growth. Besides, the climatic conditions affecting Lake Victoria have impacted on the changing water levels, in which in turn affects water abstraction.
Good enough, our systems still have the integrity to keep the water to the required quality. As regards the lake, there are also seasonal changes, but you may not notice the impact so much, but you only realize in terms of chemical consumption. So for sure there are temporal and spatial variations in water as a result of the changes in the catchment, the characteristics of the catchment.
We have some challenges. As you can see, these 4 staff sitting in this room. It is a lab, and with chemicals, with the fuels, and working space is small, but this is already captured by management. I think in the financial year we might have adequate space so that we can have more equipment. Right now we have basic equipment for analysis for water production, where we are very successful. We also do some wastewater analysis and any environmental water. We can do BOD, we can do COD, ammonia, nitrates, phosphates, and the rest of the things is usually process monitoring here for water production in Jinja. Yeah. So we are 4 in numbers, Mr. Garam has told you, and we are fairly facilitated. Well, you cannot say it is enough, because one day the other equipment might break down. You need an alternative, because you are not going to sit and then you say people are not going to have quality because you are broken, the equipment are broken down. So here we have some basic production equipment. We have this for our processes. This is an oven for sterilizing our materials. Our equipment, some smaller equipment like bottles for picking the samples. We have an incubator there for bacteriological analysis and BOD. We have spectrophotometer is up here. We have a COD reactor here. Another incubator is at the corner. We have some computers.
Lake Victoria, covering a surface area of 68,000 square kilometers, is Africa's largest lake. In Jinja district, there is adequate water for domestic, industrial, and agricultural production.
What we need is good water quality, because we practice water safety plan, and water safety plan, as you capture it from down there, is a holistic approach to water quality management. So from the catchment, we involve stakeholders, those who pollute the environment and the water sources. Then once the water has come here, we treat it, conventional treatment, we take it through clarification, then we take it through disinfection and filtration as well. So within the plant here, there is the interventions are very close to each other, because we know the product is about to get out. And water is usually a product that you cannot take in batches. You can never recall it once it is left. So we need to have quality at the source. And that's where we are concerned with our water safety plan. It is very good that way, because you may not need to go do a lot of analysis when you are very sure of systems in your place. So the challenge is just that we have the small space, but we are very patient. We are waiting. I think that space will be addressed. The equipment are coming. Maybe manpower will also be added.
In Africa, by the year 2020, it is estimated that between 75 and 250 million people will be exposed to increased water stress. And in some countries, yields from rain-fed agriculture could be reduced by 50%. In East Africa, the impacts include declining crop yields and increasing food insecurity, increased frequency and intensity of droughts and floods, reduced water supply, increase in pests and diseases for livestock, wildlife and crops, increase of vector-borne diseases including malaria and Rift Valley fever, dysentery, bilharzia, cholera and typhoid affecting human health. declining levels of freshwater resources and natural resource-based conflict amongst communities due to declined water and pastures. One of the public health challenges is that there is no safe drinking water for 1 billion people who lack access to an improved water supply source. Richard Kimboa from the East African Sewerage Network recognizes that stakeholder involvement, right from planning with affected communities, efficient use of water, including new technologies, could solve this challenge.
That it is very vital for getting communities involved in issues of water security, and because it is them that are to be, whose resilience is to be built. And therefore it is very important to get them involved in the planning as well as in the cycle of development overall. And the other thing is around efficient use of water, and that points to the issue of means of implementation in terms of technology transfer, in terms of skills, in terms of information and so on. And then the third one is on knowledge management and sharing. Because what is important is, in order to build resilience, is around getting people to share some of the knowledge is around, some of the technologies within reach. It's maybe in the next village or the next town or the next country. So the importance of sharing this knowledge within communities is extremely important in order to build resilience, because some of the solutions are within reach.
Concerns about managing water quality are growing. Pressures on water availability and waste control are rising too. Reduction of production costs by the industrial sector are relevant in both gaining profits and environmental sustainability. The Cleaner Production Center experts are positive that wastewater can be managed well for reuse in the industry and for onward safe utilization outside the industry.
When we started in 2010, we mapped out industries in order to identify which industries are we going to work with, where are they located. So we have geo-reference maps for the industries, not all of them unfortunately, but a big part of the industries, we know where they are located. Then from there we determine the pollution intensities for each industry. And that was very important because it helps us to focus on those industries that are highly polluting, or let me put it this way, that those industries that are losing a lot of materials and therefore bringing about pollution of the environment. Because what goes into the environment is the resource that has been lost. Now, after determining the pollution intensities, then we could tell which industries to focus on. And from the results, we had the leather industries, we had the sugar factories, breweries, and other industries in that order. So we brought on board industries from those sectors that, from our analysis, that were highly polluting, and unfortunately they accepted, some of them accepted, and we started training them, carried out assessment, implementation, and the good thing is that some of the industries have achieved very good results. One of the industries I will point out is, for example, the leather industries of Uganda, which is a tannery in Jinja, which had previously been closed because of the pollution loading into the pollution impacts on the environment. Now today this company is a very good example of a company that can turn around using the concept of cleaner production. They have reduced the amount of water that we are using, and of course that one translates into reduction in the effluent. They have reduced on energy consumption, because once you do that, then the operation cost goes down. They have improved the quality of the effluent. One particular thing they have done is the installation of a chrome recovery plant. So the chrome that was previously going as pollution loading into the effluent is now being recovered and taken back as a material for turning. The smell has reduced. The pollution loading in terms of other factors, for example, the BOD, which was over 3,000, is now about 500. Not yet complying, but at least significantly reduced from over 3,000 to 500. BOD, the chemical oxygen demand, which was over 4,000, is now about 900, and it is work in progress. It is a work in progress. We are sure that in a period of 1 year, 12 months, or 15 months, we shall be able to continue working with the company, and we reduce to what the standards requires in terms of effluent discharge.
From the Ministry of Water and Environment in Uganda, there are new innovative approaches to achieve water security, including strengthening local knowledge on water security.
Introduced what we call Appropriate Technology Center in Mukono, where we are doing research in new areas with regard to water and sanitation, and we're also coming up with innovative approaches to water security, both at household level and community level, and also for industrial purposes. It's the technology. The center is right now about 3 years old, and so far we have come up with quite a number of researches in various water technologies, and we also have demonstration centers at the facility for communities and interested sector stakeholders to go and learn from. Well, the lessons so far are that the communities have a lot of knowledge, traditional knowledge, especially with regard to water security, except that we always ignore them and we are not tapping into that knowledge, and something we should move into and develop, so that we address water security at that level, other than introducing modern techniques which are not very user-friendly to our environment. For instance, how to harvest water, how to store it, how to protect water sources, how to ensure that the quality of the water sources are not contaminated. They already have it, but we don't take it very seriously. For instance, the use of clay pots for storing water, even from graphite houses. They have, for instance, free spaces which they use for protecting the springs. So such trees they don't cut.
Water security is essential for economic growth and development. But most of African countries are actually far from realizing this. And because of the impacts of climate change and climate variability, the cost of it has even become more difficult for the developing countries, like the African countries, to achieve water security. And because water security is essential for economic growth, it therefore poses a challenge in the realization of issues like food security, energy, and even health for African population, and East Africa in particular.
Human rights approach to water and sanitation is necessary. The right to water is defined as the right to sufficient, safe, acceptable, physically accessible, and affordable water for personal and domestic use.